Good to have you here. This is OmniView, episode 30, Balanced News Perspectives. Today is April 9th, 2026. We'll cover what happened, how different viewpoints frame it, so you can decide for yourself. Fragile U.S.-Iran ceasefire faces immediate test as Israel strikes Lebanon. Iran halts tankers in the Strait of Hormuz, and both sides dispute what was actually agreed. A 2-week ceasefire between the United States and Iran was announced just before a deadline set by President Trump. The pause followed weeks of conflict but has quickly come under strain. Israel has carried out large-scale strikes on Lebanon, killing at least 254 people according to reports. Iran has halted oil tanker traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. Both sides offer conflicting interpretations of whether the ceasefire covers Lebanon and what conditions apply to reopening the strait. Different perspectives on this are worth noting. The Guardian reports that while world leaders expressed relief at the truce, unresolved disputes over its scope threaten to unravel it quickly. Israel and the United States state that Lebanon was not included, while Iran insists it was. The Daily Mail highlights the White House declaring victory even as Tehran demands tolls on the still-closed strait and attacks continue on Gulf states and Lebanon. International reaction has included mockery of what some see as a bizarre claim of triumph. France 24 notes that Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu failed to address Israel's inability to achieve its stated war goals in Iran, including regime change, destruction of ballistic missile capabilities, and elimination of the nuclear threat. Bloomberg describes the Israeli assault on Lebanon as escalating the campaign against Iran-backed Hezbollah and casting serious doubt on the fragile truce. Columnist Andrew Neil in the Daily Mail frames the entire United States action as potentially the disastrous defining act of Trump's presidency that will haunt him. These perspectives reflect differing priorities. Some emphasize immediate humanitarian costs and strategic failure. Others focus on negotiating leverage, economic impacts, and political face-saving. The question worth considering: what exactly was agreed upon in the ceasefire, and who has the authority to interpret its terms? Shifting now to diplomatic efforts around the same crisis. United Kingdom Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper is calling for shipping through the Strait of Hormuz to resume without fees or hindrance. This follows the ceasefire announcement. Iran has proposed charging vessels, reportedly seeking significant sums per ship, to help rebuild infrastructure damaged in the conflict. The United States has signaled interest in potential joint toll arrangements but prioritizes unrestricted reopening. Perspectives differ on the appropriate path forward. The Guardian reports Cooper stating that Lebanon must be included in any ceasefire and that shipping must be toll-free. It also notes Iran's proposal for fees and Trump's suggestion of a possible United States-Iran joint venture. The British Broadcasting Corporation states Cooper will urge that shipping be toll-free and unhindered. France 24 explains Tehran's position that charging ships would help rebuild bombed infrastructure and maintain control over this strategic waterway as part of its 10-point proposal. The Daily Mail ties the dispute to the broader perception that the White House is claiming victory while the strait remains closed. Western governments emphasize freedom of navigation and lower energy costs for consumers. Iran focuses on recovering war damages and asserting sovereignty over a critical choke point. The question worth considering: what legal basis exists for a country to impose tolls on international shipping through a strait like Hormuz? The human cost of these tensions is reaching households far from the region. Fuel prices have risen sharply due to the Middle East conflict. Analysis shows United Kingdom motorists have paid out hundreds of millions in extra costs already. The total cost to drivers is projected to exceed £1 billion. The Chancellor is reportedly receiving additional value-added tax revenue from these higher prices as diesel and petrol costs surge. Coverage highlights different aspects of the impact. The Daily Mail frames the rising fuel costs as reaching eye-watering levels for British drivers. It notes the government benefits from increased value-added tax receipts. The Guardian's Australia coverage shows similar fuel price spikes there, with diesel surging to record highs and affecting toll traffic. This demonstrates the global ripple effects of the conflict. These accounts reflect tensions between immediate consumer pain, government fiscal gains, and the underlying energy market instability caused by disruptions in the Middle East. The question worth considering: how do conflicts in oil transit regions translate so quickly into domestic pump prices? Meanwhile, the conflict has drawn commentary from unexpected voices. Actor George Clooney told Italian students that President Trump committed a war crime by threatening that a whole civilization would die in Iran. Trump has since mocked Clooney's acting skills. The actor responded by calling the president infantile. This exchange illustrates how foreign policy can quickly become personal. The Daily Mail coverage presents Clooney's strong criticism of Trump's rhetoric and the subsequent personal back and forth. It reflects ongoing cultural and political tensions between Hollywood figures and the Trump administration. Some view Clooney's comments as legitimate moral critique. Others see them as celebrity overreach into complex geopolitical matters. The story shows how personal insults between public figures can become entangled with serious policy discussions. The question worth considering: what role should celebrities play in commenting on international conflicts? Columnist Andrew Neil has offered a broader assessment of the United States' role. He argues that the Iran conflict became deeply personal for President Trump. Neil suggests the United States' involvement carries hallmarks of what could become the defining and disastrous act of his presidency. The piece connects Trump's approach to his self-image as a stable genius. It frames the action as likely to haunt him long-term. This contrasts with White House statements claiming success. The column reflects broader debates about presidential decision-making and personal motivations in foreign policy. It raises questions about how leaders' legacies are shaped by military engagements. Some readers will see this as sharp analysis of potential overreach. Others may view it as premature judgment on an ongoing situation. The question worth considering: how do personal factors influence high-stakes foreign policy decisions? Now, to really understand the stories dominating today, there is something most coverage leaves out. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the world's most critical energy choke points. Roughly 20% of global oil consumption passes through this narrow waterway between Iran and Oman. When tanker traffic halts or faces new fees, the effect is not abstract. Refineries adjust purchases immediately. Futures markets price and risk within hours. That risk premium appears at petrol stations within days. Governments then face higher value-added tax receipts on the one hand and angry motorists on the other. What changes how you see the debate is recognizing that neither complete freedom of navigation nor full Iranian sovereignty claims fully capture the decades of customary international practice in the strait. Next time you hear competing claims about who controls the waterway, ask yourself which practical mechanism would actually keep oil flowing at stable prices while respecting the security concerns of all parties involved. Before we go, tomorrow watch for whether diplomatic efforts by the United Kingdom and other third parties produce any concrete movement on reopening the Strait of Hormuz without tolls. That's OmniView. For full source links and more context, check out today's written briefing on the OmniView summaries page. As always, compare outlets, look for primary documents, and separate what's known from what's assumed. If balanced perspectives are valuable to you, share this with a friend and subscribe wherever you listen. See you tomorrow. This podcast is curated by Patrick, but generated using AI voice synthesis of my voice using ElevenLabs. The primary reason to do this is I unfortunately don't have the time to be consistent with generating all the content, and wanted to focus on creating consistent and regular episodes for all the themes that I enjoy, and I hope others do as well.
Without taking the dive, we went on vacation. We had a nice time. My doomsday is set.